We are in Korea, and so far we visited some pretty strange places. Right, we made it to our next stop, and it's a poo cafe. So it's literally served in a toilet pot cup. Oh, you ready? We visited some of Seoul's top attractions. Welcome to Korea. This is a lovely place to come as well. I think we're going to be spending a lot longer than we thought up here. And we dressed up in a traditional Korean hanbok. Ah, so this is the finished look.
Howdy. We are having the time of our lives in Korea, and in today's video we continue our adventures of this fascinating country.
But holding hands now, with the leg out. What's going on?
With something a little more serious, but nonetheless very interesting. We're just at the entrance of the DMZ, so what's after happening is they've taken our passports. They have a unification flag ready and waiting.
This is the original.
The original border, yeah.
South Korea and North Korea.
That is a trip to the DMZ that separates South Korea and North Korea.
But before we get into it, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future uploads. We are going to be exploring this part of Asia for the next couple of months, so you won't want to miss any of it. Now, let's get into the vlog.
Oh. Hello, hi. Hi. Hello, Erica. Hello, hi. Right, so we've made it to our collection point on time as well. We had to be here for 7:15. And yeah, we just about made it. So we just met a tour guide there. She's lovely, so she's going to bring us onto the bus now. I'm not too sure how far away it is from Seoul, centre of Seoul, to the DMZ, but the bus looks nice. It's one of these kind of coaches on it. Thank you.
And we're off.
I was mad if I turning the camera on, just as I was stuffing that down my gob.
Oh my god, what an early start this morning. Honestly, I'm absolutely wrecked. I think we had about 3 hours sleep, honestly, but a coffee is much needed. We picked this up in the 7-Eleven. I think the drive is just a little bit over an hour. We're the first stop, so there's a couple of pickups on the way.
Okay, so we have made it. They've given us these little kind of badges or passes. We're just at the entrance of the DMZ, so what's after happening is they've taken our passports, the tour operator, and they just need to get checked and things like that. So before we can actually enter the DMZ, there just needs to be some checks and stuff like that. So
yeah, we've a couple of minutes to spare here while the girl goes in and sorts that out. The drive was actually less than we thought as well. It was only about 40 minutes to get to this point. There's another mad thing that I'm looking at as we drove in. There's like a fun fair over there, which I think is a little bit strange, is it?
it's probably not what you expect to see when you come to something so serious as this, but
yeah.
I read it up on it. I don't know how true it is, but supposedly if the conflict is ever resolved between South and North, that if the North come to this area, this will be the first thing that they see. So it's supposed to be like a gesture, I guess you'd say. Now again, I don't know how much that is true.
You don't know how much is true, yeah, but it's strange over, isn't it? Like that when we were pulling in, I'm like, am I seeing things, or is that like a fun fair over there?
Yeah. The tour itself is quite, it's a different type of tour, I guess you'd say, to different ones. Like there's a bit of a strict schedule and behaviour and things like that. So we're on the GoPro, so we're not too sure how much we can film or if we can do much talking or whatever. I believe when we get inside we will be guided throughout everything, and we'll be given explanations to everything that we see and do and stuff like that. So we'll try relay that information into the vlog. But it's
Erica, our tour guide, is lovely. She's Korean herself, nice, and she's really, really nice. So she was filling us in on the bus as well, about some of the history and stuff behind it, and she explains it in a very easy sort of way as well, which is nice. But we're just here now, and there's like a couple of shops as well around, so we're going to grab a coffee because I'm not gonna lie, that coffee this morning has not woken me up yet. I'm still wrecked.
So yes, we're just ordering our coffee. So it's a bit early now, but I am tempted.
North Korean beer.
So we've just been given our passports back, so we're just waiting to be wait for the go ahead basically to start the tour.
Okay, so we are in the first part of this tour. We're in a place, I think it's the Freedom Park, and basically there's a lot of war memorials here, especially for American soldiers who were heavily involved in the Korean War as well. It's actually a little bit sad as well because they had a train outside, and that train, when things were good in Korea, that train was able to run from basically Korea all the way into Europe, and now that particular track, if you like, has been cut off, so that's not happening anymore. But they had like a replica of the original train which was outside. Another interesting part which I thought was really interesting was that they have a unification flag ready and waiting, which I thought was crazy. It's actually quite positive that that's there, I guess you'd say. And so it's like white with a blue kind of symbol in the middle of it. So the fact that they actually have a unification flag is very interesting. That's basically it right there. So it looks like basically they outlined the map of the whole Korea as one. For those of you who don't know what DMZ is, it basically stands for Demilitarized Zone. So it's basically essentially the border between North and South Korea. So there's a 2 kilometer gap just before the southern border, and then a 2 kilometer just after the northern border. So that's basically the zone. That's a demilitarized zone. Tourists can come up here and visit. And the general gist, I guess you'd say, of the Korean War goes back to, well, it started in the 50s, but it was originally occupied by Japan, Korea, and then in the end of World War II it became, I suppose, for want of a better term, up for grabs, and then the Soviet Union and the United States got involved, the Soviets being involved with the North, and then the Americans being involved with the South. What happened basically is it sparked the civil war between the people in the North and then the people in the South, and that's what the Korean War was in the 50s. And how the Korean War ended was basically neither North or South were making any ground really in taking over Korea, and basically it became like a stalemate, if you like, and a ceasefire was signed. It's actually signed in the, I think it's the JSA, I think it's the name of it. That's the famous setting. You'll see it. There were like cubicles built to sign this agreement, and it's so funny because they built the cubicles because they didn't think that the agreement would actually last. But yeah, that's the infamous blue cubicle buildings. I think there's an image of Donald Trump meeting Kim Jong-un. He crosses over in that as well, which is very interesting. That's actually unfortunately not part of this tour. I would have liked to go and see the JSA, just because, like I said, I think it's the most famous part of the whole North-South Korean border.
June 25th, 1950. The war began with a blitz, the southward invasion of North Korea, which began together with the sounds of the sky-high bombings. The war ravaged the country and left it devastated with the casualties of around 3.9 million people, along with 10 million people who were separated from their families. The long war that lasted 3 years and 1 month was put to an end with the signing of an armistice agreement at the truce village of Panmunjom on July 27, 1953. The DMZ was built around the military demarcation line, which was created when the war ended.
So yeah, in Seoul there is a river called the River Han, and it actually runs right up into the DMZ area and then into North Korea. But we just seen a section of it there a second ago, and there's barbed wire all over it. And basically what that is to do is to stop North Korean defectors from using it as a way of getting from the north down into the south. However, some people actually do make it. They do make the transition from leaving the north, even though they're not allowed, into the south. If they are caught while they're in the south, they then have to go into a facility for about 6 months to a year. This is basically to do with rehabilitating them. As the guide said, these people are brainwashed, so they have to be basically treated carefully. They've also faced severe interrogation. They can actually attain South Korean citizenship, but they're not allowed vote. They're not allowed to join the military, and they're not allowed to work for the government. So I suppose they'd be kind of obvious things, because they do have to worry about spies.
So this part is actually new, our guide was telling us, and it used to be just farmland, and they've made it into a lovely park area, and it's for people from North Korea that are in the south now to come to, a place for them to come to, because it's the closest they can get and feel to their family that are still in the north.
Also included in this tour is a observation deck where we can look through binoculars directly into North Korea.
That's gonna be crazy.
Which would be really cool to see that, you know. That's about as close as we can. I actually think Irish people are allowed, because I know what we've seen on YouTube, you know, people from Europe actually visit North Korea, so it is possible. I just think it's I suppose not recommended.
It's not recommended, yeah, and it's strange. That's like, South Koreans can't visit North Korea. We've also Americans can't visit, and then we were asking as well about Japanese, like in Japan, and I'm not too sure if they can either. So there's like certain countries that can visit and that can't. I don't really know what way it works. I don't know if we'd ever plan to visit. This is probably as close as we'll get for a while to it, but yeah, it's cool to be here, and I'm actually excited to see. We're supposed to be going to do a tunnel as well, an underground tunnel.
Yes, the 3rd infantry tunnel, I think, that was discovered by the South Koreans, that the North Koreans had built. I think that's what the gist was, but we'll learn more about that as we get closer to it. But a lot of information to take in, but like I said, very interesting topic, so we're excited to learn more.
And I think Keelan is the perfect person to tell you all about it. He loves his history and is really good at it.
I'm a bit of an old man in a younger person's body. I do love a good war story.
Yeah,
it's always very interesting. Right, time is up at that part of the tour. We're on to the next one. Oh.
这个行程那个好运动啊，所以经济道的南边没有美金，然后那个时间方向山后边这个朱红色的建筑 Camp Clibus 也是来这边填废物站地带的，然后太阳的话。
On a totally unrelated matter, it's absolutely scorching today. Absolutely cracker. You don't realise it because you're walking around taking things in and all. You're like, Jesus, I'm getting scalded. Oh, look at this.
this is the first border.
This is the original.
The original border, yeah.
South Korea and North Korea. Go on in. Come on in.
Oh my god, that's mad, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's mad.
So you're north, I'm in south.
We're enemies.
So our guide was actually telling us something really interesting as well that we didn't know. The actual border between North and South Korea is run by neutral countries. So they change every 5 years, and right now in charge is Switzerland.
Okay, so we're in an elevator. We're going up to the Dora Observatory, I think it's called. So this is where we're going to be able to actually see into North Korea. So we had a brief little look there in this sort of room there. They had like a little sort of makeup thing of South Korea, North Korea and the border. So we're going to go and check the real thing out now.
I think this is going to be really cool. So sometimes you can't get great views, but I think today we're going to, because we were down at that point there and we could actually see the two flags in the distance. And she said it's not always that you can actually see the flag, but you could see the South Korea and North Korea flag. It's really cool.
You can see right into North Korea, so we're very, very close to the border at this stage. And at the border, they've got two separate flags. And it's so funny what the girl was saying about, it's very tit for tat. So South Korea had the flag at a certain height, and then North Korea had to add an extra few meters to it. And over the last few years, there's just been kind of this one-upsmanship about who has the higher one. At the minute, North Korea have, but I don't. It's obviously, as I said, a bit tit for tat, but it's very interesting to look over into it. There's also binoculars as well that you can look through and sort of see certain parts of it, like.
Right, let's see what we can see. Right, it's very zoomed in, so I'm trying to figure out where I am. Oh my god. I just see fields and fields. Oh, I can see things.
Can you?
Yeah. Oh my god, it is quite clear. Wow, okay, I can see. You have to look, check this out, Keelan.
I'd say there's no chance this is gonna work, but
That would be unreal if it did. Oh, I see the flag.
so yeah, visibility is a bit tricky. We can see a little bit. We can see the flags, we can make the flags out, and we can see sort of shapes of buildings and stuff like that, and river. But in terms of actual real clarity, it's very difficult. It is amazing to see though, to be here, to just look at that. This is fascinating. So funny, you can see when people are looking out through the binoculars, you can hear everyone go, I can see the North Korean flag, I can see the North Korean flag. That's kind of like the highlight of looking out. As I said, the visibility isn't great, but you can still make out the flag. And the two flag actually, the South Korean and the North, so that's kind of signifies the divide between the two, which is incredible.
No, it's so hard. I keep getting the South Korean flag, and then I know to the left of it is the North Korea, but it's not as clear to see.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely more difficult to find.
By not looking through binoculars, it's difficult sometimes, kind of for context, to kind of see where things are. You're kind of just
when you look at them, first of all, everything is so zoomed in, so you're like, right, hold on, give me a minute to find out where I actually am. And then I think you can figure out by that South Korean flag. And then you're trying to just work your way from that, like. But it is cool, like you can see
bits and bobs.
You can see bits and bobs. You can't see a lot of things what's going on or anything like that. But like that is a little bit misty as well, but you can see, it's really
like you
cool.
can see there's a village just past the border. You can see the village and you can see the buildings. Can't see any people or anything like that, you know. But it's good. There's a lot of mountains as well, and there's, like I said, there's a river, so
a lot of greenery, and it looks like there's a lot of farmland as well. And there actually is a lot of farmland up here, so we're going to be going to an interesting point as well. It's one of the stops on the tour.
Yeah, it's a village, is it?
It's a village, where some people live, and that we can see there's some like farming that they do there as well. But yeah, it's interesting to see, and like that, it is beautiful around here, isn't it?
It is lovely.
So our tour guide Erica was telling us the idea behind this cross here. So it lights up at night, and in North Korea there's no religion, so they don't believe in any religion. They're not really taught that anyway. And the idea behind the cross is that it will shine through, and the people from North Korea will see that the people from South Korea have like freedom of choice when it comes to religion. So it's like a propaganda tool.
Okay, so we're at another stop after the observatory. We're at the third tunnel. So basically there was tunnels found in the 70s that the North Koreans had built into South Korea with the hope of an invasion. That's basically the gist. But the third one was found in, I think, the 1990s, and supposedly a defector from North Korea who came to South Korea had actually informed South Korean authorities about this tunnel, so they obviously went and they found it then. This is kind of a drawing of the tunnel, so you can see it kind of here, but they're actually three concrete panels that the South Koreans had to build in order to stop the North from coming in this way. So they weren't too happy about it because at the time things were supposed to be good, so it was a little bit of a betrayal, I guess you'd say. So we're going to go into it. We're not allowed to film. We're not allowed to actually bring anything down into it. Only a bottle of water. It's also quite steep and long as well, and you do have to kind of hunch over as well. So supposedly they could pass 30,000 North Korean soldiers within 1 hour from north to south, so obviously it was very beneficial to have this tunnel, but like I said, the South Korean authorities snuffed it out before they could properly use it. Right, so we're out of the tunnel and we have some time now before we go off to our next spot to just like take some pictures and have a little look around. And we're after stumbling across this really cool thing here. So we're reading the sign and it's like a monorail, but it's obviously not working like. But I think the idea seems to be, I'm not too sure, but you can go down a tunnel. Like a little train.
like a little train
see
on a
down there.
monorail, yeah. We actually thought it was a roller coaster when we saw it first. It's deadly looking, isn't
It's
it?
like the bullet trains you see
Yeah.
in Korea and Japan.
The little people, oh yeah, so I don't know what the idea of it is.
I would have rather now go in that than
walk.
having to crawl through the bloody tunnel.
Yeah. The tunnel is like 2 meters in height and 2 meters in width, so it's quite small. So like you're really ducking down to go through some parts of it, but it was cool. So we also had to wear these hard hats through the tunnel. Right, so we're at our last stop now and we have 15 minutes here. So we could get out and stretch our legs, and also was recommended for us to get a soy bean ice cream. So that's one of soybeans are one of the main produce that are actually grown in this farming area here. So I'm dying to try it.
You good?
Oh my god, it's so good. It tastes like peanut butter.
Does it?
Yeah.
Also as well, I'm just reading up there, ginseng is another huge export from this part. Supposedly it has the best in the world in this region of Korea, which is also interesting.
Wow.
In the next episode.
So we're in an area called Gangnam, and everybody probably has actually heard of it from the song Gangnam Style.
Do the dance proper, will you? What do you...
It's actually crazy being in a library like this, because I know the libraries at home in Ireland, when you go in, it's like silence, like, and you don't get crowds of people.
It is, you're in everyone's picture.
Good God, look at that.
The good old Guinness. It's been a while since we had one of them.
Right lads, it's a write-off. We'll see you tomorrow.